fans are making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, got to get dealt with.
They hand it to Pollard. He comes running out the right side. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
42-10, San Francisco remains undefeated as they improve to 5-0 in a dominant win over the Dallas Cowboys in Santa Clara as the Bay Area says goodbye to the Dallas Cowboys, and they did so quickly in this one. Week 5, not the week for the Dallas Cowboys as we welcome you into Cowboys Game Night. And alongside Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. Nate, I mean, where do you start? It was a complimentary loss for the Cowboys. We talked about it a little bit in Week 3 whenever Arizona came out on top of Dallas. But as they fall to 3-2, this one just it was won in all 3 phases by San Francisco.
Yeah, from top to bottom. I mean, they just outplayed us. They were more physical, and that's what we said as a team, that we will be more physical. We'll make things happen. They took the time of possession over 35 minutes. They got 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery. We didn't get but 8 first downs. It was not a pretty sight, Kyle.
That's the largest point differential in a game, or in a loss, I should say, underneath Mike McCarthy as head coach as they lose by 32. Let's take a look at how this one unfolded. Dallas and San Francisco, Brock Purdy and company, Dak Prescott. It's the 40th all-time meeting between the Cowboys and the 49ers. First drive for San Fran was good as gold, resulting in a wide-open George Kittle for 6. Kittle's first touchdown catch of the year, Nate.
Yes, sir. They just rolled out, hit him on a crossing route deep in the end zone, touchdown.
Dallas offense late in the quarter had the ball, but not for long. Tony Pollard fumbles this one on the near sideline. Somehow the ball stays in bounds. San Francisco gets the ball back. But just a couple plays later, at the start of the second quarter, Christian McCaffrey inside the 5. He loses the football, and Jordan Lewis hops on top of it. Dallas rebounds by getting the ball back. But how did they respond on offense? Not in the way that you would anticipate. 3rd down and 2. Dak rolls out. He can't get away from Fred Warner. He's sacked, and Dallas is forced to punt the football away. Next offensive play, a little trickery from San Francisco. Deebo Samuel back to Brock Purdy. Finds a wide open George Kittle down the right sideline. Kittle puts a foot in the ground, and Shanahan showing off on the offensive side.
Oh, yes, sir. He did a nice play, a little trickery right there. Got behind the safety, scored.
George Kittle, 2 touchdowns, and he's not done just yet. Not next drive for Dallas. They are in desperate need of a score, and they find one to Devontae Turpin over the top, finally getting the deep ball going.
I thought this was the play right here that was going to put the Cowboys back into that. I think it was a momentum play that they needed, and I thought they would get back in the game there.
Yeah, and they had a chance for another momentum play here. 3rd and 4, pass over the middle, incomplete. At least it seemed to be incomplete. And then not 1 but 2 personal fouls called, one against Donovan Wilson, one against Jaron Kearse, and San Francisco keeps the drive rolling, kept the ball on offense, setting up this short score for Christian McCaffrey. 14th straight game that he has found the end zone, including the playoffs, and San Francisco took full control, 21-10. Then you go into the second half, another George Kittle touchdown. He works open behind the defense. Brock Purdy continued to deal. He finds Kyle Juszczyk for 6. Dallas down 35-10 at this point in the 4th quarter, and then a tipped ball ends up in the hands of Fred Warner, the 2nd interception of the day thrown by Dak Prescott. He would throw another one in the 4th, and we'll do you a favor. We'll fast forward to the end of this one as the Cowboys fall 42-10, the final in this one. 25 first downs given up to San Francisco, only 8 for Dallas as they finished with under 200 total yards. Just never got going on offense. Never really had the time to, as you take a look at the time of possession down at the bottom. Dominated by San Francisco in all 3 phases like we talked about, and it was a 42-10 win for the 49ers. When we come back, Nate Newton and I will react to the reaction out at Levi Stadium. We'll hear from head coach Mike McCarthy as Cowboys Game Night continues right after this.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Make everyday game day with Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery. Play today for your chance to win big.
Welcome back into Cowboys game night. Let's go back out to Levi's Stadium and hear from head coach Mike McCarthy following the Cowboys' loss to San Francisco.
How do you explain what happened out there today, and what was the message to your team afterwards?
Well, explanation, a very humbling loss, clearly stating the obvious. I think the biggest thing is I just had a quick reflection on the 5 games that we played in. It's been a wide range of performance, as wide as a range that I could ever recall in a 5-week period. So, thank you. The biggest thing is for, us to be accountable. It was clearly humbling, but it is one game. I think I expressed this during the week. I thought they were playing very well coming into this. I knew our defense was in for a big challenge. I've been very impressed with what they were doing on offense. And, and frankly, it should start with me. I didn't do a good job tonight. So I wish we'd have gotten balance, earlier in the game. That did not happen. You don't convert third downs. So, but, you come out at halftime, put the drive together, and then, and then obviously, a lot of things went wrong after that. So, but it's clearly just shows where we are as a team. We're 3-2. Our consistency, even when we played really well and did some things, when you look at the 3 games that were won by, a big margin, and then the Arizona game where, the pre-snap penalties, and, that showed up again tonight. So just clearly on it, and just, we got work to do. We got a lot of work to do, and we got a game in 8 days. So we'll spend Wednesday. We'll spend a lot of time on this one, and then we'll move on to the Chargers.
All right, so for Star Telegram, we talked during the week about what a win could mean. I could boost you confidence-wise and get shot in the arm based on, some of the things y'all did in the offseason. A loss like this, how demoralizing can it be?
Well, I think it's a punch in the gut, it's a kick in the ass, whatever phrase you want to put on it. But, I think it's clearly, but you look at how the season's gone. We've been knocked down. I mean, clearly, they beat us in all 3 phases. So, I think we will clearly acknowledge it. And I'm not a burn to take guy. I think that's a crock of shit. We're not going to do that. We're going to go through it, make sure we're clear on exactly, what the expectation are, make sure we're giving our players what they need to be successful. So they played extremely well, and we did not. And it was really in the areas of basics, really in the areas that I thought we had taken a step as a team. So, I didn't see this coming. I thought their prep was good this week. So I thought we had one of our better Fridays and Saturdays of the year. So, but I think, like we've talked about before, sometimes you have a great week of preparation and it doesn't go so well, and some weeks it's not the best week of preparation, you play well. So we did not hit the mark at all today.
So the accountability being taken there by Mike McCarthy, saying it starts with him as the head coach. You love to hear that if you are a Cowboys fan, but if you are a Cowboys fan, you're hurting right now because you looked at this as an opportunity to benchmark your team, see where they are, and I mean the honesty of it all is you're not ready to be a contender.
I mean, the inconsistency you talked about, it was obvious tonight, but it just all came to a head where you saw a better team that was more mentally and physically ready for the game. I think the Cowboys was hyped. I think they were ready, but for the physicality of what this team brings down in, play out, we wasn't ready for that. The way they came at us 175 yards rushing, the way they held us down up under 60 yards rushing, that tells you the whole game.
And this team is not happy with the result tonight. When we come back, we'll hear from Micah Parsons and what went wrong on the defensive side of the ball, how they can improve, because they got another challenge coming up as their former offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, hosts the Cowboys in Week 6. We'll be back with more Cowboys Game Night right after this.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Make everyday game day with Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery. Play today for your chance to win big.
Cowboys defense, once vaulted as one of the top defenses in the NFL, allows 42 points in the loss to San Francisco. Here's what Micah Parsons said post-game.
You guys talked about a measuring stick game here. now that it's over? How do you feel about where you guys are at and what you need to do to compete at that level?
I don't think they really are higher level than us. I think we're the same caliber playoff team, if not the same talent standard as them. I just feel like we need to really reconsider some things, get together, and fix some things. I feel like it was a few plays away. The score don't really shape what really happened out there.
After a game like that, why do you feel that way? Why do you still feel like you guys are on their level?
I just feel like there was nothing that they did besides us beating ourselves. I mean, you look at the third downs. I mean, I jump off sides, and then they get 7-5 plays later. You know, third down, Wanye makes a great hit on McCaffrey, but somehow and you know, the drive goes on and they score right there. I mean, we get a 3rd and long, and it's like, it was just like, I feel like we just beat us. Like, I don't think. And, you know, that's the thing with, like, good teams like this. If you beat yourselves, it shows its magnitude. And today, we were the 4 turnover team. We was the team that couldn't get off the field on 3rd down and didn't succeed in those things. But I don't think that we're off the same caliber at all.
Micah, the run defense has kind of been a question throughout the years. Just, you know, do you feel like it's still an issue that needs to be addressed even tighter?
I don't know. That's something that, like, it's just only so much I can do from – where I'm sitting at. Like, I don't know what's going on inside. I just set the edge, bro. Like, I don't know. Things that the interior or whatever needs to get addressed. It's just something the coaches got to look at.
Micah, does a game like this make it even more frustrating? Because, like you said, you guys know that you're capable of much more.
Yeah, I don't think there's a person not frustrated in this locker room. I feel like we need to change some things. It's like when we on, but I feel like I never seen a champion not be battle tested. And you see that in a great Andre Ward, you know, he gets knocked down, he wins 10 straight. So we're just getting tested early. And it started early in the season, then it was Trayvon, and we've been in some games where we should have won and games where we beat ourselves with the penalties and things like that. We just getting tested right now.
What's the message going forward?
So there's Micah Parsons speaking on the 42-10 loss. Here are the defensive stats. 42 points, by the way, the most ever allowed by Dan Quinn in the NFL as a defensive coordinator. That's both in his 3 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys and with his 2 seasons with the Legion of Boom in Seattle. 42 points, a career high allowed by a Dan Quinn-led defense. Nate, where did it start on the defensive side, and where do you want to see a turnaround this week?
Well, they had to turn around on 3rd downs. He's right. Parsons is right. You were 6 for 11. They was 55%. You couldn't get off the field. It was 35 minutes, 35-plus minutes of possession time. They couldn't get off the field. They couldn't stop the big play. They couldn't stop the 3rd down. Red zone, they were successful. He's right. You had a lot of mistakes, and it cost you. But this time it cost you 6 touchdowns.
A lot of times the defense is needed to set the tone. They had a chance to set the tone whenever San Francisco got the ball to start the game. Instead, San Francisco drives down, scores on the opening drive, and the rest is history. But when we come back, we switch the focus to the offensive side of the ball, and we hear from quarterback Dak Prescott with more Cowboys game night right after this. Dak Prescott went the first 4 weeks of the regular season with just 1 interception thrown. In Week 5, he threw 3 picks, all to the San Francisco defense. In the 42-10 loss, here's what QB1 had to say.
That's a 4-star telegram. There was so much put into this game, but measuring up, revenge, how demoralizing to have a performance like that?
Yeah, I guess that's a good word in a sense. Didn't see it coming. As you said, put everything into this and got punched in the mouth. Called a couple of weeks ago, humbling against Arizona. But this may be the most humbling game I've ever been a part of. Felt good about the preparation, felt good about everything, honestly, coming into this game, matchups, and they beat us in every aspect.
What was it like to be out? Did just whatever was called, just you feel like you had chances to get stuff out there, or do you feel like you had opportunities to make plays and just didn't?
I mean, I've obviously got to look at it, but had the one drive, and other than that, yeah, I mean, didn't get anything going really. Is just the initial thought of what I can think of, whether it be the run game, action, whatever. We didn't get any momentum ever, other than that one drive, and It's only success of the night.
Michael Delphin, Dallas Morning News. It might be too early to think about it in this sense, but you guys obviously know that if you get to where you want to be as a team,
Hell yeah.
you have to go through this 49ers team probably. How do you close this gap that seems to very clearly exist?
Yeah, over these what's left? The rest of the season. Obviously they're further ahead than us right now. So we've got to close that gap and be ready, as you said, to get to where we want to get. We know we're going to have to go through this team and most likely come back through this place.
Sadi's with the Athletic. Dak, Micah said that he doesn't feel like you guys are too far off. There was a lot of self-inflicted errors. How much of that do you feel? How much of today do you feel was you guys, and then how much was the 49ers as well?
Yeah, you got to give them credit. A team like that, powerful offense, discipline on defense, and then when you start out 2 3-and-out drives and a turnover on the first 3 possessions and just give them opportunities after opportunities, it's always going to be tough. And to speak on what Micah's saying is, there's a lot of self-inflicted things, but we can't do that in a game like this against a team like this. So that's part of being far off, and that's part of closing the gap and getting better.
Here are the offensive numbers following the loss to San Francisco. Dak Prescott, by the way, his 3rd 3-interception career game. His last one was in 2019 against Green Bay, also in Week 5 of that season. Time of possession, first downs, rushing yards, it all wasn't good for the Cowboys. But where do you really look at this one and hone in on the biggest problem?
More physical. Like he said, they're a disciplined defense. They line up in a 4-3. 2 guys over the guard, 2 guys over the tackle, and a middle linebacker and a will. And that's how they play ball. They play big boy ball. They out-physicaled us, and they stayed disciplined. They didn't fall for none of the flea flickers or anything or the motions. They are a solid team with great athletes.
Yeah, and they got the job done for the most part right from the beginning against this Dallas offense. Really got after Dak Prescott, had multiple sacks, put the pressure on him, and, well, that's just how it goes in this one. When we come back here on Cowboys Game Night, we'll wrap this one up, put it in the rearview mirror, and take a look ahead to a long week for the Cowboys as they get ready for Monday Night Football against the Chargers in Week 6.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Not the Cowboys' night in Santa Clara as they fall to the San Francisco 49ers, 42-10, the final score. Back alongside Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans as we wrap up Cowboys Game Night here in Week 5. Good news is that they get a little bit of an extra break. They get Sunday off. They'll go into Monday Night Football against Kellen Moore, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers. What do you want to see the biggest turnaround here in Week 6?
Coach Johnson told us after a loss like that, a humiliating loss like that, a humbling loss, he told us, hold on to that feeling. And every time you think you're climbing the ladder or getting the big head, think about that loss that these 49ers put on you. Hold it in your heart. Play through the other teams to get back to where you need to get to, and that's back to the 49ers' promised land. That is your promised land.
Where does it start if you're taking a look at an individual on this team? Where do you feel like they need to really dig deep the most?
Just all your stars. All your star players have to be leading this show, have to put in their extra time, have to make sure that they're right. No more mental mistakes, no more offsides, no more interceptions. That's unnecessary. No more fumbles. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. It starts with your stars, from Dak on down through Parsons, through CeeDee Lamb, through Tony Pollard. That is where it starts.
Yeah, you got to find a way to dig deep and turn things around because you can't let this one beat you twice. You can't let the 49ers beat you 2 times going into another West Coast matchup next week at SoFi Stadium. That'll be 7:15 on ESPN. For Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long for Cowboys Game Night. We'll see you next week from the Star in Frisco.